Hey, welcome back to Roundtail Restoration, everybody. My name's Chris. This is the chassis to my 1964 Triumph TR4. As you can see, it is mostly on the ground. In my last video, I had problems with the bottom trunnion connections for some locking washers that went in there. So I got that figured out, obviously. Got the car on the ground. So let's see how I did it. Thanks for watching. Let's get it sorted. Back over here with that trunnion problem and the locking washer. Reached out to my favorite forum. Essentially what they said is drill it out or otherwise increase the hole diameter a little bit so you have less metal to cut, but not so much that you totally don't have any knurling whatsoever. So I tried to find a drill bit. This is such a tight tolerance that I don't have any drill bits really that'll increment to the 128th of an inch or 164 or 1/64th of an inch that I would need. 3/8 is too small and a ½ inch is too big. So I took just a round hand file, rat tail file, and now I hopefully have taken off enough metal, and I'm just going to try to tighten it again and kind of cross my fingers here that I did it enough, but not too much. I have a feeling also that this is a one-shot deal, that once these get on there, they're very difficult to get off. Well, better, but not great. So I'm going to back out a little bit, take off a little bit more metal, and curse the person that came up with this instead of making these things for real. And I am totally eating up this trunnion. Damn it. Well, that's not working at all. So I'm gonna get a little creative here. So this is the old trunnion and one of the one that I just filed down a little bit, the locking washer. So I'm going to put that on there. Now again, the knurling is not exact, so unfortunately I can't use this as a sacrificial trunnion to cut all the knurls and then just transfer it over. But I've got this, and I got one of these, and I'm going to try to nail that guy into and have it bottom out, see how that works, and then if it works, I'm going to try it on one side. I don't know. This is just not, this shouldn't be this hard. All right, well, that took absolutely no time to do that. But this is pretty loose. See if I can get this off of here. Who knows, maybe I'll get lucky and I will be able to use this. It's definitely locking it down. All right, so we'll take this. This one's kind of just barely cut. Let's take it over to the trunnion on the car and see what it looks like. Well, it's not perfect, but I think it's going to work. So I'm going to grab and do the same thing now, just on this side, and drive that guy home. Well, that didn't work at all. Didn't bottom it out. All right, so I'm going to take that, take this guy off, do the same thing. I'm essentially resigned myself to potentially buying a new trunnion here, but it looks like it's pretty hard. It doesn't look like it's really damaging it. So I'm going to drive this thing all the way home. I don't think I'm going to get it back out. I don't know how I'm going to. That's not working at all. All right, so I've cut a little bit more in here. I'm just going to go over to the bench and file a little bit more. Maybe it's just an iterative thing. I don't know. I'll be back. So I took it back over to the bench, filed it down a little bit more, and it's seated now. So now the trick is how am I going to get it back off? And I'm probably going to use a screwdriver, I guess, just to kind of pry in there. The threads on this guy are not the best, but fortunately, you're not really, it's not really load bearing per se, like a normal, doesn't really get tightened down. I think it's like a whopping 5 foot-pounds. So I'm not too concerned about these threads not being in great shape, because they're not too bad where I'm going to put most of the tension on anyway. But so we're going to get a little flathead, see if I can slowly wiggle this guy out, and same thing other side, I guess. No fun at all. Well, I figured it out. Let me show you. So first things first, we're going to take that rat tail file that I mentioned, and we're going to file down the inside diameter of the washer here. Now, I don't know if it's going to focus for you. If you can see that little step on the inside of the washer, that is what essentially your contact point is with the splines. So because you can see that pretty easily, not in my camera of course, but with your naked eye, I'm going to file down until that little lip is just about gone. So we'll stick it in the vise here. I'm going to take that Roundtail file, set this up so where I can see that little lip, and we're just going to file the thing down. And when I get to that point, I'll show you. So when you do this, the rat tail fire for me is not completely a single diameter. As it gets towards the end, it tapers a little bit. So I'm trying to start with it pretty much inside so I can minimize that taper so that I cut this as evenly as I can. And I'm just going back and forth and making my way around at the same time. And essentially you want to maintain that lip that I showed you. But I tell you, at some spots it may disappear, and that's okay. So turn it around a little bit. This is the end that's going to go in first. So here I do want to bevel a little bit just to kind of help me get the thing started. Kind of opening up the inside a little bit. All right, so we'll get this over to the car and see what it looks like. All right, so we'll get it up there. It doesn't feel too bad. It's starting on me a little bit, or sticking in there, which is good just by pushing on it. But I'm just going to essentially stick the socket over here, just take a regular hammer and bang it home, and try to keep it as straight as I can keep it. But frankly, I'm not going to worry about that too much. All right, so it's really struggling to start. So I'm going to take it back off and file a little bit more. It should go on a little bit easier than this. Get it back over, just take a little bit off each time. And once it starts to slide on relatively easily, we're good. So let me do all that and I'll come back and show you. All right, and once you get it pretty much, ouch again. Once you pretty much get it through, it kind of goes pretty easily from there on out. All right. So now that thing's in there as far as it's going to go, but obviously I don't have that that grease spreader washer thingamajig. That guy. I don't have that guy on there. So now I'm going to use a little chisel here and this flathead screwdriver and stuff. And now I just kind of want to work that guy back out so that I can get that washer back on. Now that it's cut, it'll be a lot easier to get on. And the reason I took that off, you probably don't have to, but I wanted a full cut of the knurling along that whole entire locking washer so that I make sure that I didn't get just a little bit and it would loosen up over time. So hopefully with a full cut, it won't. You know, whether or not that's true, I don't know, but we'll see. So we're gonna now, like I said, get this chisel in there and we're just gonna slowly work it back and forth, trying not to mess up my paint or mess up the washer for that matter. All right, once I get that guy back off, we'll come back. So now we've got that back off. We'll slip the washer back over with the rubber seal, make sure that that's proper. And again, this is going in with that lip portion or whatever you want to call it facing in. This will, as you go through this, you will probably tend to bang up this locking washer a little bit, at least the inside of it, but it works. All right, and obviously you can hear it seat pretty well where you get the ting, and then you get the castle nut. And now that's tight. So now it's tight and that's sealed. Trunnion still obviously turns. You're not really expecting that to mess with that at all. And that's how I did it. So not as it's intended, but I don't think you could do it as intended. I think you would end up destroying your trunnions if you tried to just put those on there and tighten it down like the instructions say. So there you go. Let's move on and we'll get the suspension put back together. So I had mentioned that I made the little locking tabs out of 20 gauge steel. It was essentially the body steel that I've got the big sheet of to put on the shock absorbers because Moss was not forthcoming with the back order. So you just put it on the one where you put the bolt on, and there's not really a rhyme or reason to this. I just traced out the old ones. So we're going to go ahead and get that on here. Tightening it up until it compresses enough that you can get it on the mounting springs back here, or the mounting bolts back here, the studs. And then I'm going to bend this tab down, and if you can see that I'm kind of angled off to the side, I want to try to hit this flat portion of the bracket there. I figure that'll prevent it from rolling over on itself or something like that. And then the other 2 tabs I'll just bend with the bolt, and that's it. That was entirely too hard. All right, everybody, that's all I got. Thanks so much for watching. Leave a comment below, tell me what you think. Well, not my finest hour getting this chassis on the ground. You can see I struggled around that V8 motor over there. I just couldn't move that thing, but it's down and I didn't hurt myself or the car, so that's good. Next up, we'll slide to the back and get the differential on there. I've still got some work to do on that, but I'm getting stuff painted and cleaned up and refurbished as much as I want to and everything like that. So we'll pick the next couple videos up following that. But otherwise, that's all I got. Thanks so much for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Cheers.